Hi everyone, this is Brenna. Just wanted to share something that I learned recently, and it's been more of a lifelong journey, but it all kind of drew together in a weekend that I spent with my friend going to the Lavender Fest in Sequim. But I learned how three words that play into our daily lives, past, present, and future, really affect us. The first word is redemption or redeem. We are redeemed by God. When Jesus died on the cross, he redeemed us. He paid the price to buy us back and claim us as his own once and for all. And from there, we have been given the opportunity and a second chance to have a relationship with him and build a life and commune with him and have a relationship with him. The next word is death. Death or dead, it's pretty self-explanatory. It means there's no more life in it. It's of the past. It is already done. And then the one word that really can determine how we view our personal lives and how we view ourselves when we look in the mirror is shame. Shame is awful. In my personal opinion, it is the worst 5-letter word that has ever been created. But shame is a word of the past. It only describes events of what has been done to us or what we have done. Have meaning past. It's a past tense word. It's a word that uses our past against us. It holds record of wrongs. In fact, shame is the only way that Satan can get to us. He uses here's a good shame one. You'll never be good enough, or you'll never be smart enough because you keep failing all your tests even though you do great on your classwork, but when you get to that test, you're just going to fail, so you might as well give up because you're never going to be smart enough. That's shame for those of us students. Spouses, you'll never be a good enough husband unless you can get her to stop nagging at you. Vice versa, there's all sorts of, people carry baggage into marriages, but a lot of marriages do one thing that we are actually, as Christians, are told not to do. We keep record of wrongs. Why can't you be like this? Because all you ever do is this. All you've ever done is this. You'll never be able to do that because all you ever do is this. Or honey-do lists. That's just a pile of shameful things that you want your spouse to do, and you just hang it over their head. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm sorry. That's why I don't have a honey-do list. It's if my husband isn't capable of doing it because he's working, then I do it. And yeah, I am physically capable of doing it. So I don't do that. Another shame is see, you're a nobody because you made a poor choice and all you are is just a stupid addict. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. I know that there are those of you who struggle with that shame bubble of you'll never be good enough because all you ever do is think about alcohol. All you ever do is think about getting that second hit or getting that drug or that. No. Just because you have a thought of it doesn't mean you're a piece of shame. But Satan dangles that over our heads once we get a shot at redemption and once we get a shot at being made new. He starts racking up all the dumb things that we've done or the dumb things that other people have done to us. And he goes, see, and picture this. Picture a jar, big old fat mason jar, and you write down every wrong that your spouse has done to you or your best friend or your brother or whoever you're the closest to, who you have a closest relationship with. Imagine writing down every little wrong thing they do. Whether it's they look at you funny, or they actually call you a name, or they yell at you, or they hit you, or they lie to you, or they cheat on you, or they do something that hurts your feelings or hurts you. You write down every little agitation, you fold it up into little pieces, and you stick it in the jar, and slap a big old sticker of shame. And when they start to do good in life, and you get insecure, and they're actually growing and healing, and you're just itching and waiting for them and they start to maybe get frustrated, or they have a stressful day at work. That first vulnerable moment they have where they actually are human and they get stressed, imagine yourself pulling out a handful of those little pieces of papers of wrongs and reading them out to them out loud. And see, I told you it's not gonna work. You're only gonna get more stressed because this, and this of what you've done. That's what Satan does. He holds our past against us, and that's how he drives the wedge between us and our relationships with other people, and especially our relationship with God. His wedge that the piece of his wedge that he tries to drive between us and God is shame. As soon as we grasp a hold of God and the knowledge and the belief and the fact that God has redeemed us and called us by name and says, "You're my child," the moment we actually really truly embrace that, Satan gets even more frustrated and starts whamming even more. Instead of 2 pieces of paper a day, it's 5 pieces of paper of shame notes. And shame is just stupid. My biggest shame bubble, I've been shamed my whole life, actually. I've had the assumption that I'm just going to be a worthless, no good, wild child. And I've been told, not everybody's perfect at trying to get somebody to not do something. And what do we do when we really don't want someone to do something? We try to scare them out of it. Well, I've had the shame bubble thrown at me, trying to scare me out of being a stupid girl. I've been told by people growing up, by my birth parents, not Joe and Terry. For those of you who know my parents, it's Joe and Terry. My biological parents are not them. But my biological parents even told me, I'm 21 going and seeing my birth dad, and he hates me because he can't suck money out of me. And so what does he do? He steals the things I have and claims that he doesn't know where they went. And he demands money out of me. And when I say I can't give you any money, he, literally, we went to a store, and what did he do? He walked out on me, and I had to call a friend of mine. Yeah. I mean, that's how I've been treated by him since day one, since the day he got custody of me when I was 4.5, 5? Yeah, he only used me to get what he wanted. Threw me out like a piece of meat before perverted dogs, and kept me in a kennel, and that's my life. Not my life. So shame for me is you'll never be truly loved, and you'll never be lovable. You'll never be worthy or capable of loving someone. That phrase right there, you'll never be capable of loving him. I admit, before I married my husband, I was not in a state to be in a good relationship with someone like my husband. But to be told by somebody that I truly looked up to, I didn't know how to approach because I was terrified of him because he's a guy. I am scared of men. It's not so much anymore. But at the time, I didn't know how to approach the opposite gender, really. And especially someone of authority and of influence, and someone old enough to be my parent. I was terrified to be around people that were old enough to be my parent at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21 even. But to be told by someone that I truly looked up to, because my dad had the utmost respect for him, and so I in turn had the same utmost respect, told me I am just not good enough for my husband. Well, at the time I was dating him, but not good enough for him, and I'll never be good enough for him. And I'm sitting there listening to him as he says this and says, I'm going to do everything I can to end the relationship. And my heart is breaking. And I believed it. And I knew better, but I believed it. Now, fast forward to my first year in marriage. My first anniversary was in 2017. November 19th, 2017. And my husband and I are sitting there, and I asked him, I went, And here's the point that I'm going to really hit home with on this whole shame, redemption, and dead thing. I asked him what he saw in me because I'm not good enough. And I don't know what and I told him, I said, I don't know what you see in me because I am just not capable of loving you. I'm not capable of being good enough for you. And I am just a low down piece of trash like so-and-so told me. And a lot of people have told me. People in my own church have told me that I'm no good and will never be good enough for the man that I married. A lot of people. In fact, all but like 5 people. And there's like quite a few people in that church, which I was not a very good girl at the time. I will admit I was a horrible, rebellious person, but you still don't shame somebody like that. Because you never know what's truly going on in the background. And for all of you who didn't know what was really going on, the reason why I didn't go back to church was because I was in an awful, heavily abusive relationship that if I went anywhere, it would be abuse. There would be hell when I got back. If I went to church, I'd get a verbal beating, maybe even a physical strike. So yeah, I didn't go to church for like a long time. But anyway, my husband and I are sitting there and I asked him, I was like, what did you see in me? Because I'm just not good enough. And he goes, you are, because God will make you into somebody good enough. And there is no such thing as good enough. It's you are what you are. And what you are is a child of God. And the sooner you embrace that, the better. Only God can make you into somebody good enough. And there, like I said, there's no such thing as good enough or worthy enough for somebody. No, we don't deserve anything. We don't deserve anybody. I don't deserve my husband. He don't deserve me. I don't deserve jack squat. And neither does the person who told me that. And neither does, none of us deserve anything because we are sinners. And yet God redeemed us. And he says, come with me and let me show you what you will become while following me and walking with me. He shows us what our future is. He shows us what we will become. He does not shame us. He does not use our past against us. He holds our future. His desire is to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us a hope and a future. And to say, come to me, whoever is tired from your life, from your poor choices or the choices that people have put on you, or come to me when you are brokenhearted and angry and feeling alone. Come to me and I will give you rest. And then when you are rested, I will start my work on you, and I will take you to places you've never been. I will take you out into deep waters where your faith is insane. I will take you out into the middle of the storm, in the eye of the storm. And I will guard your soul. I will never stop fighting for you. And I'm had all these are all facts. And this is just this is how minuscule Satan is. He holds nothing for our future. He has no access to our future. He has no access to tomorrow, just as we have no access to tomorrow. He has the access, if we allow him, he has access to the now. This is where God and Satan come in to contact and fight for who gets who and fight for us. And talks to us and knocks on our doors is right now, this very second. But all Satan can do is use the things against us of our past seconds. What happened 2 seconds ago? That's all. But what can God do? He has access of 20 years from now. He knows what you will become when you have a relationship with him. He knows what you will become and what you will say on your deathbed. He knows what will happen 3 generations from now in your grandkids' life and your great or great-great-grandkids' lives, depending on how many kids and grandkids you have. He knows the whole span of life. He knows when we rise and when we will go to sleep. He knows how old we will be 6 years from now and what we will be doing by then. Why? Well, one, because he's God. Two, he created us, which Satan has no dominion over us because he has no part in our creation. He was cast out. He doesn't even own the keys to his own gates. God holds the keys to his own gates. Satan is in a big time out. And all he can do is whisper over us and send out his little minions or whatever to cause destruction and chaos. He holds no boundaries. He holds no respect. He holds no order. God holds everything in our best interest. And sometimes it hurts having to walk through the, yeah, I goofed up, and the reality of, yeah, I was awful, or yeah, I broke the law, or yeah, I sinned, or yeah, I cheated, or yeah, I watched something I shouldn't have watched, or yeah, I did drugs and had to go through rehab and lost all my teeth and now I have herpes from all the stupid things I did. That's not in the case for all of us. Or yeah, I willingly cheated on my spouse because I didn't want to work stuff out and it was the easier way out, and so now we're divorced and my kids don't even want to talk to me because I goofed up my marriage and my life. Or it's just something so simple like I yelled at my boss or I yelled at my kids when there was no reason to. Or self-harming. I mean, there's whole different levels of what things that we do, that negative things that we do that have consequences. Heck, King David took a woman and killed her husband, and there were consequences. There are consequences for every bad action we have made, and for the people who have wronged us, they will have to deal with their consequences too. But it doesn't mean that we are worthless or shameful because of the things we did in our past. Yes, some parts of our past does shape, can literally shape our future. Like if you are a convicted felon, you can never vote again and you can never carry a gun again. That's a solid fact in our future, but it does not mean that you can have absolute freedom and peace. Just because you were a promiscuous girl for 20 years does not mean that you can become clean and become a good woman of God. It does not mean that God won't bring a good man your way. It does not mean that you are worthless and unworthy of love. And yeah, so what? Your parents may abandon you. And you may be in foster care and your foster parents beat the crap out of you or did unspeakable things to you and you've had nothing but chaos your whole life. It doesn't mean that you are unworthy of the love of God. Nothing you do, nothing you say makes you unworthy of the love of God. We are unworthy of everything. We are not worthy and we don't deserve squat. We don't even deserve life. However, God says, I took you from the ends of the earth. From its farthest corners I have called you. You are mine. When you walk through the waters, I will be there and you will not drown. When you walk through the fire, I will be there and you will not be burned. And Christ says, yeah, you'll have people that hate you and persecute you, and your bodies will be broken. But your soul has a certain specific home when you walk and follow me. I mean, we all have a choice every day to get up and forgive those who have wronged us. And no one deserves forgiveness, yet we're supposed to forgive them. That is what God tells us to do. We are shown grace countless times and mercy and love and life and peace. And we have a God who created us, who says you are worthy of love and you are worthy and fully capable of loving someone and being loved. If you can love your Creator, then you can love another human being. If He says you're worthy of being loved by Him, then you are worthy of love. So don't let Satan get to you and use shame on you. Shame is a word of the past, and your past actions are dead. Let those skeletons go. Embrace the fact that your future is held in a hand that spans the universe. The very hands that created you in his image. And so when Satan nags at you and says, see what? I don't see anything because I don't mess with the things of the past. What's dead should stay dead. In fact, there are laws. The laws of man even, agree that what's dead should stay dead and buried. Because it's unsanitary, it's stinky, and it's a disgusting mess to unearth something that's dead. It's chaotic. Shame is such an easy thing to fall into, because when you start to be afraid of something, or you start having an anxiety attack, or maybe you're put in a position that brings up some PTSD, or you're vulnerable. Anytime you're vulnerable, Satan hops right in and starts driving his shameful wedges. Like, you're vulnerable, see? You're nobody. You're not strong enough. Okay, go away. In your vulnerability, you know what God says to do? He says the sacrifice pleasing to God is a broken spirit. A vulnerable, heartbroken spirit. Humbled, saying, God, I need you. God will not turn, and God says, I will not despise a broken and humbled heart. Your heart is broken, you're vulnerable, you're weak, you're feeling your weakest. You feel like if I don't get some kind of mental clarity, I'm going to screw up again. Well, God says, that's okay, come tell me. That's the thing that's most pleasing to me, is when you come to me. And God, but yeah, my point is, God says you are worthy of love, and He has crowned you and He has called you. The whole Bible is one great big fat redemption love story of God say over countless times redeeming His people and saying, you are goofing up. There are consequences for your actions, but I still love you. And I still find you beautiful. And I still find you worthy of a crown. He says that we are His. And we are worthy. And shame is just a word of the past. Redemption is a fact. And here's the fact. God is love. He is life. He is light. He is eternal. He is God. He is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He is God. In fact, earth is His footstool. He has power and dominion over everything. And so, when we let Satan in and let him win, that is just goofy. Satan doesn't even have the keys to his own gates of his own of hell. He doesn't have access to our future. He only has access to things that are dead. Take advantage of that. Now, I'm not saying take advantage and mock and be like, nah, you have no power over me. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. But take advantage of that in the manner of, wow, how weak is he? He has no power. He knows nothing of what I'm going to do 10 years from now. But if I stick with God 10 years from now, it's going to be good. Or it may not be good, but I will still be with God, the ultimate creator who actually made me in His image. And if God is love and we're made in His image, then we are fully capable of loving in the utmost powerful form of love, which is unconditional. So don't let shame get to you. Embrace that you are redeemed and you are a new creation, and that your past is done. There is no bringing it back up. 1 Corinthians 13 says, love keeps no record of wrongs. It is not envy. It does not boast. It is not angry. It is not jealous. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love is patient. It is kind. God is love. And He is patient and He is kind and He holds no record of our wrongs. When He forgives us, He casts our sin as far as the east is from the west, which is never ending because, we don't know how far space goes. But yeah, you are fully capable and worthy and, worthy of love. And your past does not own you. So I hope that you can understand that. And it took me a long time to finally get the courage to embrace that. And it took my husband telling me that to finally start to understand that Satan and shame have no power over me. God had made it clear to Reese that He was going to marry me. And Reese chose to take a step of faith and believe what God will make me into. Not could or might if I become good enough. He has yet to hang something of my past over me. He has never shamed me. And we're coming up on our 3rd anniversary. He has never shamed me. It is incredible. And why? Because we put God in the center of our marriage. And we know just how much we need Him. And we know that God does not shame us. So if God doesn't shame me, then who am I to shame Him? Or who am I to shame someone else? And who am I to shame you? It is not my place. It is only my place to see you or my husband or other people the way that God sees all of us. And He sees us with an undying passion of, oh my gosh, my creation is incredible. Let me love you. Open up. So I hope you are encouraged, and I hope that you find peace in this, in knowing how valuable you are to the Creator, and how priceless you are, and how worthy of love and life, and how amazing you are in God's eyes. Love you bunches, guys. Have a good evening.